Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be telling the story about how I passed away while giving birth to my baby girl. In this story I am going to try to keep it short, but knowing me I'm probably going to go off on a couple of tangents, but just bear with me. This all started on August 12th. I was due to be inducted on August 19th. That was my original induction date. And if you look back on my baby shower video, it explains up until that point what I was going through with my pregnancy. On August 12th, I went in for my high-risk appointment. On that day, I had been experiencing high blood pressure that whole entire day. I took my blood pressure at home. I knew that I was experiencing high blood pressure, took my medicine, and it was not going down. When I went to my appointment, they took my blood pressure and it was sky high. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I do remember my top number, my systolic blood pressure, being in the 170s, but I don't remember the bottom number. So the nurse told me, girl, I hope you have your bags packed because you're going to the hospital today. That morning, winding to that morning, I had already known that I was probably going to be in the hospital that day because my blood pressure was extremely high, like I said, and I knew that. So my fiance and I had packed our bags literally that morning. I hadn't had my hospital bag packed until that morning. So unfortunately, I was not able to make a video on that, which I was kind of bummed about. But later that day, right after the appointment, I ended up going to the hospital. And I was immediately admitted to the OB floor to prepare to have my baby. When I got there, they didn't really tell me nothing, but I already knew what was going on because I can put two and two together. She was like, okay, so we're just gonna get some IVs on you, blase blase. And then by she I mean the nurse, then she finally said, we're gonna have a baby today. So guys, I have been admitted into the hospital. My baby butt wants to come early, so I guess we're letting her. I was kind of nervous but excited at the same time because I don't know, like I was so excited to see my little baby, but at the same time I was nervous because I knew what comes with childbirth, especially for black women. Black women is just, childbirth is a little bit different, but we'll get into that later. On that day, so my blood pressure was extremely high. They tried to bring it down with antihypertensive medication, but it didn't work. It was not working. So then they moved up to something a little bit stronger, which was magnesium, to get the blood pressure down. But with magnesium, it doesn't just slow down your blood pressure, it slows down everything in your body. So I was also bedridden and I could not move. They would not allow me to leave the bed. I couldn't walk around. I had to be catheterized, which would suck for me because firstly I did not want to be catheterized. Also, I wanted to be able to move around for when it came time for me to give birth. I could not move. I could not eat anything. I was on a clear liquid diet. Unfortunately, that was so sucky to me. I hated that. Alrighty, here is the clear liquid diet. I have here beef broth, gelatin, lemon ice, sweet tea, and cranberry juice. That day, they started to try to soften my cervix so that I could start dilating. So they put this medicine, I don't remember the name, it wasn't Pitocin, but it was another medication. It was like a pill. They put it up there right at the cervix. Oh my gosh, when I tell y'all that hurt, that was a 10 out of 10 pain. I mean, it felt so uncomfortable and you felt so violated, bro. In them it really felt like those nurses were trying to like scratch me or something. It hurt it really bad, but I know they were just doing their job. I don't fault them for that. I don't fault them for that at all. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, so yeah, they put the pill up there to try to soften my cervix or whatever. Mind you, I got there around maybe, I want to say around 12 o'clock p.m. I got there around 12 o'clock p.m. That whole entire day, they were just keeping me on the magnesium and trying to soften my cervix. Fast forward to the next day, August 13th, they were continuing on through the night as well with the pills. They put it up there every 4 hours to soften my cervix to try to get me to dilate. It hurt so bad. It hurt so bad, bro. That's all I can remember is it hurting so freaking bad, bro. And I was just squeezing my fiance's hand. And he was just like, bro, really? Not really. He didn't say nothing to me. He was just like, going through it over there. He was going through it in silence. And you a real one for that. I'm not gonna lie. Because honestly, bro, it was really tough on me. My family was also there. I want to go ahead and mention that before I continue on with the story. My family was there every step of the way. Every day they were coming up there, spending time with me, and we would, you know, watch TV together, talk, whatever. I also want to mention that the magnesium made me super duper drowsy. So I was always so sleepy, and they were coming up in there and they were putting up that medicine. I can't remember. If I can find, I'll probably look it up or something and put it up on the screen, but I don't remember the medicine. So the next day they were trying to still soften my cervix, and then they went on ahead and put me on the Pitocin. They put me on the Pitocin because they were like, the magnesium is slowing you down. So my cervix was not softening, was not making any progression really because of the magnesium. So they were like, okay, so we're gonna try to we're gonna try the Pitocin to see if that's it's gonna help you dilate, because the softening pills weren't really doing much, but it ended up doing just enough to where I could get on the Pitocin for me to eventually start contracting. I wasn't contracting regularly, okay? So the magnesium was affecting the progression. Contractions, I want to say it felt like a period cramp. It did feel like a period cramp, but a little bit more internal. With a period cramp, you could put like a hot pad on it and you'd be okay. No, it didn't. No, I was going through it. I knew at that point, with all the cervix checks and with the contractions that I was feeling, that I was no longer going to be able to go natural. It was looking like I was going to be getting an epidural. Unfortunately, that's not something that I wanted to do, but I knew at that point it was something I had to do because the pain was a 10 out of 10. Girls, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're gonna have a baby, just know that it hurts. It hurts really freaking bad. And honestly, I really was hoping that it was not gonna hurt as bad as it did, because I was drinking my raspberry tea, I was doing my okra water, I was doing okra water, raspberry tea, pineapple juice, and coconut water to try to prepare my body for birth. But with all that preparation, it seemed like it did absolutely nothing because I was still in a 10 out of 10 pain. Later that day, they had went on ahead and put the balloon inside of my cervix. So if you know anything about your cervix, so your cervix is just like this wall that's in your vaginal canal. It was like at the top of your vaginal canal, and then the cervix at the top. So your cervix is like this, okay? And when you have a baby, it needs to be like this so the baby can get out. So they were putting pills right here on the actual cervix, and that hurt so bad because it was so uncomfortable. I felt violated, but I'm not against that because I know that's what they have to do. I'm not slow. Anyways, so this is my cervix. So they were trying to get me 4 centimeters dilated. When I got there, I was not even 1 centimeter dilated. But after that night of putting all the cervix softening pills, I became like 2. So they were ready for the balloon. So the balloon goes inside. The balloon goes inside of the cervix. So this is cervix. The balloon goes inside, and then they blow it up to expand your cervix. So they need to expand me from a 2 to a 4. Bro, that hurt the most. That damn balloon, I don't care, I'm cussing. That damn balloon, that balloon. And I remember I was talking to girls in my nursing class, because I went through nursing school pregnant. I'm still in nursing school while I'm over here talking about I went through nursing school pregnant. My first semester of nursing school, I was very much so pregnant. 7 months. I think I started out 7 months pregnant. Anyways, they were talking to me, and this way. We were doing catheters, and they were talking to me, and they were like, yeah, so if you get induced, you know, they're gonna put this balloon inside of you. It's like a catheter, and when they pull it out, it's gonna be all bloody, and it's gonna hurt, and da-da-da. When I tell you I was so scared when they told me that. I was like, what? Y'all not making it no better, but they was not wrong. I'm not gonna lie, they was not wrong. I don't remember my balloon being bloody. I didn't even look at the balloon. I'm gonna tell you right now. I try not to look at a lot of stuff because I know, like, I get in my head a lot. And if I look at stuff, I'm gonna get in my head about it. So I was just like, I'm not looking. Okay, do what you gotta do. I'm not looking. Eyes closed, fiance in hand. I'm not looking. And they placed the balloon, and that shit hurt. It hurt. So then fast forward, what else happened? Okay, so the balloon, they placed the balloon in me to dilate me to 4 centimeters, and that eventually, after so much Pitocin and so many cervical checks, it eventually worked. It eventually worked. I got 4 centimeters dilated. I can't remember if it was that night or if it was the next day. So I can't remember if it was that night or the next day. I believe it was the next day. Next day, it started out normal. Well, next day, August 14th. It started out normal. As normal as it was gonna get. So I had already been in the hospital for 2 days? 2 days at that point. I believe, I can't remember if they took the balloon out that night or if they took it out the next day. I really can't remember. But I know I had gotten to 4 centimeters dilated. And that morning, that early morning, I think it was like 6 in the morning, I requested to get an epidural. Or did I get the balloon in before? Did I get the epidural before the balloon? I can't remember. Okay, I remember. So no, on August 13th, all that was softening of the cervix. Stay with me here. Continuing on. Okay, so the next day was August 14th. August 14th started out pretty normal, as normal as it was gonna get for me. Around 6 a.m. I requested the epidural. They had softened my cervix, but I still wasn't dilated. I wasn't dilated to the 4 yet. I got the epidural. A nurse anesthetist came in. Should I say his name? I'm not gonna say his name. He had terrible bedside manner. I was already scared to get an epidural because I had heard that if any wrong movement, you can go paralyzed, and I was so terrified of going paralyzed. I was so terrified of going paralyzed. Like, bro, y'all just don't understand. Oh my gosh. So I really did not want the epidural to begin with. He had horrible bedside manner. It was just like, oh my gosh, I am being punked right now. I am being punked. So my nurse literally had to take him outside and get him in check, and he came back in with a better attitude. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, bro, you're sitting here, my life is in your hands. Can you please have some decorum? I had to get it twice. So mind you, I'm already scared as fuck. Okay, I'm scared. I can't not explain the amount of fear that was in my heart. It's almost like the fear of dying. I was so scared. I was literally that scared. I was sweating so bad. I was so clammy. And I was just trying my hardest to listen to instruction and to position my body right. But bro, I was so terrified. And he did the first epidural after there wasn't long enough. When I heard that he had to go get another one, it terrified me. It terrified me so bad, bro. The whole time I'm holding on. I'm holding on to my nurse for dear life. God bless that woman. He came back with the next one. Yes, I'm so tall. I don't know how this works. I don't know how placing an epidural works yet. He inserts the second one. I do a little bit better with this one because I had already experienced the first one, and I was like, okay, I can do this a little bit. After that, it was all cool. They started me up with the epidural. I was feeling fine. They gave me my first bolus. I was feeling pretty cool or whatever. I was just so terribly nervous with the epidural. So that's when they placed the balloon, and yes, it did hurt. Even though you're on epidural, it still hurts around that cervix area, which I did not know. Whole half of my body, lower half of my body was numb, which is something I never wanted to happen to me, but unfortunately, you gotta do what you gotta do. So after they placed the balloon, I end up getting to 4 centimeters dilated. And then that's when they decided to break my water after I had hit 4 centimeters dilated. The breaking the water part didn't hurt, but it was that balloon that hurt. I knew that when they broke my water, that's when shit was finna go. They broke my water. After that, they started seeing stress on the baby. So I knew this was going to happen because it seems like every woman who gets inducted ends up going through this. It ends up putting so much stress on the baby, and then the baby end up having to be having a C-section. So I knew to I knew that at that moment that I was going to be having a C-section, because they were like, okay, can you turn this way because the baby is kind of da 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 da. And I knew after them coming in there for so many times and going through this so many times that they were gonna be like, okay, so we're gonna try to do a C-section, da da da, so whatever. And so, but yeah, so they were saying that the waves are little and they were going flat or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what that means, so I can't explain it to you. They were like, basically, it's not something that they wanted to happen. So that's when the doctor on call at that moment, which is the same doctor who told me I had a severe form of preeclampsia, told me that I should consider getting a C-section, and that if I wanted to, we can continue on with trying to get her out vaginally, but the C-section was going to be the best bet because she was not doing well. Yeah, so after talking to my family, because I was telling, like, when she left the room, after she gave me that information and she left the room, I boo-hoo cried. And my whole entire family was in there with me. After talking it through with them, they assured me that I was going to be okay and that they were going to have my back and da da da. So I decided to go through with the C-section. Obviously, I wanted to do what was best for me and my baby. I was like, I'm going to do the C-section. So then, after I agreed to do the C-section, the anesthesiologist at that hospital came in to give me another bolus to numb the bottom of my bottom half for the C-section. So yeah, and here's where things get shaky. So an epidural is a catheter that is in your back and they're able to feed the medicine through the catheter. So the doctor came in with first off, the doctor came into my room on the phone with someone. Automatically, that's a no. That was so rude, but I was just like, my family didn't seem to bat an eye at it, so I was like, okay, maybe it's okay. Phone. And then he also had 2 syringes in his hand, so he came in there and went straight up to me, took my catheter and pushed the 2 medicines or whatever he had in those syringes into the catheter, numbed my bottom half. When he did that, I immediately started to feel like I could not breathe. I was staring at the TV. I remember this vividly. I was staring at the TV and my vision started to go out. I said, I can't breathe. I feel like I can't breathe. And my nurse looked at my oxygen. She was like, well, it's looking like you're okay right now. And I was like, and next thing you know, I was out. And why I want to explain this, because it's not, I didn't feel like I don't know what happened to me. Honest to God, I do not know what happened to me. All I know is she was like, well, it seems like, and then she looked again, and then she was like, it was just urgent. Everybody just started rushing, and they took me out the room. Mind you, the thing is, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. They don't know what happened. All I know is I went out. And then from there, but I could still hear. So from there, and I could not breathe. I could not breathe at all. I couldn't do none of that. It was like my chest had become paralyzed. I could not do nothing. There was no oxygen getting into my lungs. So I went, and then I felt myself I heard myself being rushed out of the room, and I heard, I don't know what, it was like I was in and out a little bit too. Not in and out of consciousness, because the thing was, my eyes were completely shut. I was seeing nothing but black. Nothing but black. But I could hear here and there. I felt CPR being started. I heard, let's get a pulse. And I also heard a response, pulse is 30. I knew at that moment I was about to die. I knew I was gonna die. And then I also heard, she's pregnant. Let's get this baby out of her. I heard that too. I heard these things, and after I heard those things, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I didn't hear or feel anything after that. So come to find out, meantime in between time, when I got rushed back, my family heard over the intercom in the hospital rapid response to floor whatever the maternity, whatever the floor is. Rapid response to floor da da da. Because at first I had went into respiratory arrest. And then they said like 5 minutes later or some minutes later, I can't remember what they said, they heard cold blue, which means that I had kicked the bucket essentially. So, oh my gosh, I was so, oh my goodness, I didn't think I was gonna cry, but oh my gosh, no, it was nothing but God. I know my face is probably looking crazy right now, but just y'all stay with me. So, my family was like, they heard cold blue and everybody in the room just bust out crying and screaming and just going crazy because they knew that it was me. My grandma told me that the nurses from her floor, that because she works in the hospital, so she was like, the nurses from her floor were like broke down in tears because they knew it was me as well. Everybody that was there crying, praying, they called all of my family to tell everyone what was going on, and my family rushed up there. I don't know what was going on. I was not here, and I'm just like, hearing that kind of like hearing about it now, it just makes me really sad that they even had to happen to me. My family tells me the stories. For the most part, I can keep my tears. I can hold my tears. But when they told me that my little sister, like when they first told me what happened, I was, you know, I was like, okay, you know, we were laughing about it, you know, whatever. And then they told me my little sister, who literally, I'm talking about, this little girl shows no emotion. She's the most nonchalant person you will ever meet. I'm talking, nothing phases her. Nothing at all. You cannot phase that little girl. When they told me she was crying, that was what made me cry. It was hearing that my little sister broke down crying. And I knew the severity of the situation when that happened, you know? You know how like hurricanes come to a city and FEMA decides how bad a hurricane was based on if the Waffle House is open or not? That's how I based the situation off, if it was that severe or not, is if my sister reacted. Fast forward, I wake up and there's this man is standing over me, and he's like, are you ready to see your family? And I was like, yeah. In the hallway, while they were rolling into my room, all my family was standing there. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know nothing I didn't know none of this, any of the things I told you about happened. They were standing there, and the first thing I was like, where's my mom? I didn't see my mom in the hallway, so I was like, where is she? But she was in the room. When I went into the room, I was like, where's my baby? And my baby was in her father's arms, and that's when I got to meet my little baby. A little baby Lavender. My baby. She's 4 months now. All the stuff that I had to go through to have her, to carry her, was so worth it because she's so amazing. I love her so much. She's so funny. She has her own little personality. Even though she can't talk, this girl be talking. And even after I had her, they still had me on all this medication. Because I had also, from the CPR, it really messed up my back and shoulders. So I was on a lot of muscle relaxant pain medication. After I had her and I got everything was set, everything got settled and everything, I was still on so much medication. When we were in the hospital, I was not even able to take care of my baby. My fiance and my auntie did most of the work, from what I was told, because I was asleep the whole time. I was asleep the whole time. I don't remember nothing. My fiance was like, do you even remember me put her on your chest? I'm like, what? Put her on my chest? When did this happen? I don't remember nothing. Fast forward, we got discharged from the hospital. So we stayed there for an extra 1 or 2 days. I can't remember. We got discharged. The day after we had got discharged, I ended up right back in the hospital because my blood pressure was high and I couldn't get it down again. So they adjusted my medication. They had me stay an extra 2 days. So for the first few days of my baby life, I couldn't even take care of her. I couldn't even look down at her because my shoulders and my back was messed up. I couldn't breastfeed because I was in hospital, knocked out the whole time. It was torture. I'm not gonna lie, that was torture. That was torture. But when it was good, it got good. When it got good, it got good. and we've been doing pretty well. We're doing so well. My baby is doing so well. I'm doing so well. Everyone is doing well. That was an experience for the books. I never, ever, 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 ever. I will never have kids again. Okay? Honestly, if I could have got my tubes tied, I would have got my tubes tied. Yes, I would have. That's the end of this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I love you guys so very much. I'm so glad that God has blessed me to be able to even tell this story, because had something went wrong, I wouldn't even be here to be telling this story to you right now. Thank you very much for watching my video. I really do love you guys, honestly. If you made it to the end of the video, comment 3 red hearts. I'm gonna get up out of here. Love you guys so very much.